Hello all, I'm Mr. Prada, if you forgot how I look. Here we are, what is this, day 6 of our little COVID experiment. And so today we're going to be talking about solving fractional equations. So here's a little quick reminder of what we are doing and what we've done in the past. So if you recall, we did the adding fractions already. Remember, adding fractions, this is an expression. In order to add fractions, we have to have a common denominator. Okay, so I'm going to erase this myself. Okay, so when we combine fractions, we had to get the denominators in factored form. So I had to factor this out. And then we multiplied by the missing pieces. So this denominator was missing an x plus 5. So all we need to do is multiply top and bottom by an x plus 5. And then notice we have one denominator that's exactly the same. I'm running out of room down here. I'm going to write my one denominator. We did nothing here. Here I'm going to distribute. It's a positive 5. So I have a 5x plus 25. Okay. Now I'm going to combine the tops. Remember, we can put those two together. So we have 15x plus 25 all over x minus 5, x plus 5. And I can factor the top. And it's a GCF, but I don't think I can do anything else after that. So I will factor, but then we won't have anything to cancel. No big deal. So I'll factor it up above so I'm not getting in everything else. Okay, so we can pull out a 5. It's a GCF of a 5. So we have 3x plus 5. Nothing I can cancel, no big deal. And that's it. That's all we can do. Notice with the fractions, when we added fractions, the only thing that we can do is combine. Okay, we did not make our denominators disappear. We have one big giant fractional mess in the end. Some of your homework problems that you had already done, things canceled. This one, nothing canceled. No big deal. All right, now, a fractional equation is different. Fractional equation, there's an equal sign in the problem. Okay, and with this equal sign here, we're going to solve for x. That's the whole key, is to solve. And we have our techniques for solving them. Okay. And adding fractions or subtracting fractions are expressions. We combine. Here is solving, different techniques. All right, so here's our first example that we're going to do. This is question number 1 from the homework problem that I gave you.
Day 1.
The day 1 homework problem. All right, so our rules from the notes. Remember, these were exactly the rules that we had in the notes. I'm just doing another example with you guys. So we had to factor the bottom. Just like over here when we added fractions, we had to get the denominators all in factored form. Well, here's another one of our little buddies. They, same as over there, our dots. X plus 5, x minus 5. Okay. Number 2, we have to make the common denominator. Just like what we did in the other problem. The only difference now is we don't want to have a denominator on all of the fractions. Our job when we solve is to make the denominators cancel. So this is an extra step. Okay? That's all it is an extra step. So we have to ID the common factors. All right? We have x plus 5, x minus 5. This has an x plus 5, it's missing the x minus 5. This is an x minus 5, it's missing the x plus 5. So what I do is this now. I'm going to make my common denominator. Common D. I'm going to put it in my little box here as a little diagram. Okay, my common denominator. Well, these both have an x plus 5, so I'm going to write down x plus 5. This has an x minus 5, there's an x minus 5. I'm going to write down x minus 5. this right here is the common denominator. Okay? Now what I need to do is to multiply each term by the common denominator, LCD, least common denominator. Okay? Usually I just drop the L, just say common denominator. Okay? And the reason why I do that is so all the denominators cancel out. Okay? Denominators, you know, is too big for me to spell. All bottoms cancel. So we're going to multiply each fraction by the common denominator. Remember, this isn't here anymore. I'm using that. And now we start to cancel. Remember when you multiply out, remember how we did the canceling, anything on top with anything on the bottom. And this expression right here, my x plus 5s can cancel out. 1. So now I have a 1x times each of these. Well, I'm going to drop the 1. So it's x times that and an x times that. That gives me x squared minus 5x. Big fat plus sign. Here, in this fraction, x minus 5 cancels with this x minus 5, so I'm multiplying each of these by a positive 9. So 9x plus 45 equals, now in the last one, all of this cancels, so I'm just left with 50. So we multiplied by the common denominator, so all bottoms cancel out. No more fractions. We did that a long time ago. We multiplied by the common denominator, all of those denominators canceled out. Okay? That was when we first started doing our algebra review. Okay? Now I just have to solve this equation. Okay? This is a x squared, a quadratic. So we have to have it equal to 0. Before I do that, I'm going to combine my likes. So I have x squared plus 4x plus 45 equals 50. Now I'm going to set it to 0. I'll subtract 50 equals 0. Can I make it look like a COVID virus with all little dots on it? So I have x squared plus 4x minus 5. And now I have a nice equation to solve. Factor in this case, 2 parentheses, x squared ends in a number, x and x has to multiply to 5. Or your only factors of 5, 1 and a 5. And then that's a times c is negative. Here we are. A times c is negative. The signs are different. We're going to subtract to 4. Well, in order, only way to get to a positive 4, negative 1 plus 5. Okay. Now I finish my solving piece. Remember, x, opposite sign for our solving. X equals 1, x equals negative 5. So we have 2 possible answers. Okay? 2 possible answers. So now we are checking. Sometimes we have to throw out an answer because it doesn't work for the bottom. Okay? We only have to worry about checking the bottom. If I plug in a number and it makes the bottom equal to 0, that's undefined. We cannot have that. So if I plug in a 1 right here, 1 plus 5 is 6, no problem. 1 minus 5 is negative 4, no problem. 1 squared minus 25 is negative 24. No problem. 1 is fine. Negative 5. Negative 5 plus 5 is 0. Doesn't work. That's how we solve that equation. Straightforward. Okay? If you follow these rules, all your problems are done the same way. Okay. I'd ask for questions that'd be hard to do now. Number 4. We're going to do the exact same thing. Number 1, factor the denominators. Well, a squared ends in a number. 1's perfect. A minus 1, a plus 1. Nothing factoring there. That is a GCF. I can pull out 2. A minus 1. Okay. So we're not looking at this. We're not looking at that anymore. Step 2, making the common denominator. Well, I'm going to do my little box there again for the spot for the common denominator. All right. Well, they each have an a minus 1. They each have an a plus 1. So I'm going to get those written down. But also, what's on the bottom? There's also a 2 on the bottom. We cannot forget that 2. So in my little box here for the common denominator, I have a 2. I have an a plus 1. I only need to write it once. And I have an a minus 1. That is our common denominator. Okay? Literally, we'll multiply by the missing pieces, okay, for our common denominator. And again, step 3 now says multiply each fraction by the common denominator. Okay? Each term by the common denominator. So our common denominator is that right there. All of this multiplied by our 2 times a plus 1 times a minus 1. Remember, we don't distribute this out. We leave it in factored form. Life's easy when they're in factored form. And now we're going to cancel. So here, a minus, anything with the bottom, in this fraction, anything with the bottom with anything on top. Well, a plus 1s are gone, a minus 1s are gone. Okay? I don't even need to put the 1s. So the only thing that we have on top is 2 times that a. Plus. Here, I have an a plus 1 cancels. And now, I cannot cancel those. They're both on top. I have to multiply these together. So this is what I'm going to write out. I'm going to put 4, 2 times 2 is 4, times that. I'm going to do this in 2 steps. You don't have to do it in 2 steps. You could distribute that 4 right away if you wanted to. I'm going to do it in 2 steps as a teaching tool. Equals, over here, our 2's can cancel, a minus 1s are gone, so I have 1 times the a plus 1. Well, I'm just going to write a plus 1. We distribute the 1, nothing changes. Okay. All right, now it's solving. Distribute your 4. Combine likes. What's different about this problem than our other problem? And this problem was an x squared. A quadratic we have to make equal to 0. There's no a squares in here. This is not a quadratic. This is a normal equation for us. A's go one way, I'm going to put them on the left. Numbers go the other way. I'm going to put the -4 on the right. I'll do that in 2 steps. So I'm going to subtract the A to the left. So I have 5A minus 4 equals 1. I'm going to add 4 in the other direction. I'm running out of room. I'll do it right here so I'm not standing in the way. So I have 5A equals 5, and then I just divide by 5. A equals 1. Now we just have to worry about our check, okay? I want to check right here, A squared minus 1. Remember, all we have to do is worry about the bottom, the denominator. If the bottom equals 0 when we plug in 1, we have to throw it away. Well, plug in 1. 1 squared is 1, minus 1 is 0. Throw that one away. This one's different. This answer is different. It has no answer. Nothing. We checked, it doesn't work. We had a name for this. We called it empty set, no solution, 0 with a slash through it. So, no solution, empty set, 0 with a slash. They all mean the same thing. Pick your favorite one.